Hello, and welcome to Shane's Microscope. I'm Shane, and this is my microscope. Let's take a peek. Even though it's the dead of winter and it's been rather dry for a while now, I think that moss sample still has secrets to reveal to us. So I dabbed some water off of the moss itself and put a few more of the moss leaves onto a slide so we can see if maybe there are some microbes that are hanging out in there. Well, right off, looking at some of the sediment, we can see some movement over there. Some kind of small microbe noodling its way around. At a higher magnification, we can tell that this is a ciliate. Cilia, remember, is Latin for eyelash. And over here we've got another very small ciliate moving around about the sediments, probably looking for things to eat. And here we have something very interesting. This is a conidium. That's from the Greek conus, dust, and it's made diminutive by the idiom, so conidium means little dust. And they're a type of fungal spore. They're used by certain types of fungus when they reproduce asexually, so these are able to grow into clones of the parent when conditions are favorable. Here in another part of the sample, we can see some little small thing moving around, and looking at it closer, we can tell that this is a type of euglenoid. That's from the Greek for good eyeball. Interestingly, the heterotrophic euglenoids, those are the euglenoids that need to consume other organisms, they tend to not have an eye, but they do have a characteristic flagella, and we can see this guy very energetically using that flagella to explore the environment and look for delicious things to consume. Here again, in another part of the sample, we can see something very small moving around. So far, all these organisms we've been finding in this sample have been pretty small, and we can see, zoomed in again, that this looks like it's probably another heterotrophic flagellate. Here I'm using digital zoom to get us closer to this guy, and he's very determined to get into that clump of matter. I'm sure there's very delicious things hiding in there, or at least it thinks so. Some form of green algae, probably chlorophyta. That's Greek chloros for green and phyton for plant. Well, even if we don't know what something is, that doesn't stop us from observing it, taking note, and maybe somebody watching might know what it is. Now, here's something that I found particularly interesting. This was on the leaf of one of the moss plants, if you recall that from a previous video, but this seemed to be some sort of gel, like a extracellular matrix or something, containing a bunch of small green things. Now, after a lot of research, since there are a lot of types of green algae, I believe that this is of the genus Mesotanium. That comes from the Greek mesos, meaning middle, and Latin tania, meaning ribbon, because it's got that sort of ribbon-like chloroplast in it. But in any case, it seems to be growing on this moss leaf looks really interesting. Those green cells are just suspended in there. And we can see that it actually looks like maybe this leaf is full of them. Here you can see them through the leaf. Due to the depth of focus at these magnifications, we can really change what level of the image we're looking at by changing the focus. And you can see that these cells are definitely a different size and shape from the cells of the moss leaf itself. Changing the focus really lets us compare the two. That is neat. I looked at 5 moss leaves, and this was the only one that had these. Well, that's fascinating, and I think we'll leave it there for today. Thanks for having a look with me. Until next time, keep on peeking.